Hello and welcome to Link Ahead, the City of Dublin podcast. And wow, where did the year go, Bruce?
I have no idea. But here we are again doing the year-ender episode. And what a year of topics, guests, and listenership from our loyal podcast audience. And we'll share some of those numbers with you a little bit later on our tremendous growth.
You are absolutely right. Our listeners keep growing and growing, and we're just glad we get to keep doing this. It's a lot of fun. We learn so much. And because 2025 was such a big year, we're doing another year-ender episode. But this year, we decided to make it a top 10 list.
That's right, Lindsay. Now think about our guests and topics for a second for the year. People like Barbara Nicholas, lead singers from 38 Special and Kansas.
We talked about your biggest investment, your house, with Columbus Realtor CEO Brent Swander. Our friends at Rumpke joined us for another monster episode talking about some new expanded recycling services in Dublin.
You know, plus our listeners got to meet new executives here at City Hall and every council member to hear directly from them about all the exciting things that are happening in Dublin.
Speaking of exciting, heck, we even talked about taxes. And you know what? People loved it, Bruce.
Just a huge year, but hey, did these episodes make the cut for top 10 in 2025? In 2025, it's time to find out.
All right, drum roll, please. Coming in at number 10, this will make our city manager, and frankly us too, Bruce, very, very happy.
Good evening, members of City Council, neighbors, and guests. Thank you for joining us for this year's State of the City Address. Tonight, I am honored to reflect on our achievements, share our vision for the future, and demonstrate how Dublin is leading the way in innovation, service, and community excellence. Dublin has always been a city that looks ahead, driven by strategic planning, sound investments, and a commitment to enhancing the quality of life for all who live, work, and visit here. Our success is built on the strength of our relationships with residents, regional leaders, and entrepreneurs. Together, we are not just keeping pace with change, we are shaping it. With that, I am proud to share with you this evening that the state of our city is strong.
What an awesome episode.
Yeah.
What a great state of the city. And kudos to our listeners to hanging in there because that was a pretty hefty, long episode. And they stuck with us till the end.
That was a very long one. Okay, on to number 9. And here's a giant hint. We often ask our guests in rapid fire segments what their favorite lunch or dinner spots are. And there's one place and one place only that people always give a shout out to.
So let's welcome DVT's general manager, Jerry Ziemba. Jerry, welcome to Link Ahead.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, Jerry, most mentions on a podcast isn't an official award or anything you can hang up at the back at your location,
Sure.
but you get serious props here. And knowing the people of our city love what you're all about has to be a great feeling.
Oh, it's awesome. We have the best customers ever. We really are really fortunate.
Well, we're so happy to have you. And we also have a second guest with us today, City Scene lead editor, Rachel Karras. Rachel, welcome to you.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, you are an editor and a writer for Dublin Life magazine and also other suburban publications. So you really have your pulse on the foodie scene around Central Ohio. Tell us what makes Dublin's restaurant scene so special.
I would have to say it's the range of options. You know, you've got things like Dos Hermanos, Cap City, Mezzo, Cafe Istanbul, and, you know, so many other places. You know, no matter what cuisine or flavors you're looking for, there's going to be something in Dublin that you can find and enjoy.
Awesome. Now, at the heart of our awesome food scene is the DVT. Jerry, you opened on Valentine's Day in 2000. What were those early days like, and how have things changed over the past 25 years?
Wow, it's changed a lot. Back then, 25 years ago, there was, I think, 3 other restaurants in historic Dublin when we opened. So it was more of a sleepy kind of town.
Sure.
And now today, 25 years later, this place is popping. I mean, the city is awesome.
Plus, we learned the secret to cooking a great burger at home in that episode. Bonus.
Right. That episode made me hungry. Okay. The countdown continues to number 8. This episode is proof our residents are active, seek purpose, and take care of themselves. This was our first episode of 2025 where we said, hey, forget those New Year's resolutions. Let's be honest, the holidays are stressful and they can disrupt our normal day-to-day routines. Maybe that's the reason New Year's resolutions came to be, because people were looking for a reset.
That could be it. Well, whatever you call it, a reset, a resolution, or just looking for ways to stay motivated. Here, the kickoff of 2025, we have the perfect guest, Mollie Steiner, Dublin's Recreation Administrator of Corporate and Community Wellness. Welcome to Link Ahead.
Thank you so much for having me.
We have so much going on here at the city and over at the Dublin Community Recreation Center, but let's begin on a broad theme, especially coming off the holidays.
Yeah, no doubt. So we've heard it said time and time again, self-care is not selfish. Let's start there. I think we can all agree in concept, but it seems to be harder to put into practice. Wouldn't you agree, Mollie?
I do agree that it is hard, but I also believe giving yourself permission to invest in yourself is vital to your health and well-being. And I think a lot of times people think self-care means you have to indulge in mani-pedis or spa days.
Hey, what's wrong with that?
Nothing. I love that myself.
I can use my HSAs for that.
There you go.
right?
That's absolutely right.
But I think giving yourself time each day just for a few minutes to focus on you allows you to be your most authentic self. And by helping yourself first, you can better help, serve, teach, and care for those around you.
Wow. And this is why she's our administrator of corporate and community wellness, Bruce. And it also starts with awareness, right? There is hard data that the holidays bring both joy and stress because there's high expectations, financial pressure of that gift giving, family dynamics, not naming any names, travel complications, pressure to create the perfect holiday. So recognizing all these factors and plenty of others is a good first step to possibly making changes in the new year and resetting altogether, right?
I think we can all agree that making New Year's resolutions is hard. We've all been guilty of making them, and then they don't last more than a day or a week, and then we get frustrated. So I think it's important to know the difference between intention and resolution. And to me, your resolution is a specific behavior that you commit to, but your intention is the why behind your goal or what you believe you will get in exchange for completing the resolution. So to me, intentions focus more on the process of creating the outcome rather than the outcome itself. For example, take a typical resolution of wanting to lose 10 pounds by the end of the year. The pressure and the rigid nature of that goal can lead to extra stress and disappointment if you don't get there. But in contrast, an intention under that same value might be, I'd rather focus on living an active lifestyle. So if you focus on living an active lifestyle, you still might lose those 10 pounds, but the success comes from the act of living the active lifestyle.
I loved that episode because we talked about so much more than getting out and exercising. It was about wellness as a whole, physical, mental, community, all that stuff is so important to Dublin.
Let's keep the countdown going on number 7. And wow, are we going to name drop here? The Memorial Golf Tournament. It's such a signature event here in the city for all of us. And we know the family name that's driven it for half a century, Nicholas.
Dublin Life magazine put it this way. The 2025 Memorial Golf Tournament has plenty of highlights, but nothing shines brighter than this year's tournament honoree. This year, the First Lady of Golf, Barbara Nicholas, is that honoree, and she joins us now on Link Ahead. Welcome, Barbara. Thank you for being here.
What a nice introduction. I'm having trouble believing that.
This year marks the 50th playing of the Memorial Tournament presented by Workday. Can we ask how you found out that you were this year's honoree?
Well, I think it was at the Captain's Club meeting last year. And I had walked out of the room for some reason, and I was coming back in and sort of helping them clear plates. So I picked up a plate and started walking, and Jack said, "Wait just a minute. We want you to know you're next year's honoree." And I about dropped the plate and fell over and was in a state of shock. So kind of heard it casually from the captains.
Well, let's go back to in the Wayback Machine here and give our listeners some perspective and maybe a couple nuggets that they didn't know. So, Barbara, do we have this right? You and Jack met the first week of freshman year at The Ohio State University on the steps of Mendenhall Lab. That was in 1957. Tell us about that.
Exactly. Well, I was walking along on campus and was just going past Mendenhall Lab, and I looked up and I recognized a girl that I had known from high school. We kind of had little sororities in high school back then, and she was president of her sorority at her high school, and I was president of my sorority at my high school. So I stopped to say hello to her. She was talking to Jack, so she introduced me to Jack, and she had to go to class, so he walked me to the theology department where I was working to pay my way through college, and called me up that night.
I still can't believe we talked to Barbara and Nicholas. I mean, that was amazing. And in 2026, the memorial will celebrate its 50th anniversary, and we can't wait.
All right, on to number 6. And there's 2 words for this episode. Hammer time. We had Paul Hammersmith, our director of engineering, and he's such a rock star because everybody loves him, and he can break down the most complicated engineering projects in a way that people can understand. And here's just a little bit of our convo with Paul.
All right, Paul, talk about the traffic flow and the safety of roundabouts in general.
So as we know, roundabouts tend to reduce accidents in terms of about 35%, and then severity and injury accidents by about 75%. So much, much safer, slower speeds, less conflict points. You only have to look to the left to know who you're going to possibly conflict with. So it's been a huge advantage of the roundabout.
I love that piece. Someone mentioned that you just have to look one direction to the left. If people thought about that, shouldn't be anyone coming from the right.
Yield to the left. Not that hard.
I've heard states like Virginia and New York have adopted roundabout first initiatives where roundabouts are considered the first choice for new intersections and reworking old ones. Any talk of that in Ohio? Because I can start that petition, actually.
Not that I know of yet, but I will tell you for Dublin, we always look at the roundabout as our first alternative for intersection improvement. And if for whatever reason it doesn't work, then we fall back to a signal, a traffic signal.
All right, I'm watching our producer, Scott, over there to see him perk up because he loves our shared use paths.
Oh, good.
And we are
Yay, Scott.
adding some this year, right? So Riverside Drive West, more shared use path.
Correct. Yes, along the west side of Riverside Drive from Emerald Parkway going north up to the Dublin Arts Council will be a new shared use path. We're working right now with AEP to get some electric facilities moved. There is also going to be a pedestrian bridge over Billingsley Creek that goes underneath Riverside Drive. It's a rather long bridge. I think it's about 100 feet long. So that's on order presently, and we'll get.
Where do you order a bridge?
You get on Amazon and you search pedestrian bridges.
Is that a 2-day delivery?
They're not sending that overnight, Lindsay.
Putting that on your front porch, and how do I get it off of there?
Paul has so much experience, 4 decades of professional experience, 3 in municipal government, and we're just so lucky to have his expertise and leadership here in the city.
He's the best. Now let's keep counting down the hits. At number 5, proof our listeners love music and love stories behind the music. Remember VH1 Behind the Music?
I was more of the TRL generation.
Oh boy.
You're aging
Okay.
yourself a bit, but we
Okay.
all love music.
Okay, I'm dating myself here with you, Lindsay. All right, at number 5 for 2025, another first for Link Ahead. Lindsay, I am very excited. So please welcome lead vocalist and keyboardist from the band Kansas, Ronnie Platt, to Link Ahead. Hello, Ronnie.
Hi, kids.
We are beyond excited to have your band and 38 Special join us for our Independence Day celebration. How did the stars align for you to be here with us?
What a great lineup, Kansas and 38 Special. What a great matchup. We can't wait to get there. And on July 4th, are you kidding?
Well, we throw quite a great party for the 4th. And this is part of your 50th anniversary tour, and you're playing all over the country. What can your fans here in Dublin look forward to in terms of the set list and the show itself?
Well, not only from 38 Special, but from Kansas also. You're just going to hear some crazy intense music. It's a good time. You're going to see some of the best musicians in the world. We bring our show to everyone, and everyone's always satisfied customers by the time they leave. Yes.
Let's run some numbers here. Kansas has sold 30 million albums, and 8 of them went to gold. Plus 2 1 million selling gold singles in Carry On My Wayward Son and Dust in the Wind. What's kept Kansas so popular over all these years?
It's the quality of the music. And, it's something to see, our audience, just in the time that I've been in the band, which I'm now working on my 11th year.
Wow.
Hun, can you bring the Geritol? It really is the quality of the music, and it's. I like to rebrand it as it's called classic rock, but I like to call it timeless rock.
Ronnie Platt was such a storyteller, so humble, so gracious, and Kansas rocked our Independence Day celebration.
They really did. I'm still starstruck from that episode. It was so much fun, and our first rock star, actual literal rock star guest. So now the entertainment theme continues, Bruce, with this next guest, and he is in very exclusive company as one of our very few three-peat guests. And he knows we don't extend that repeat invitation to just anyone, Bruce.
So please welcome back to the show, Joe Bashara, theater supervisor for Dublin's Abbey Theater.
Thank you both. It is an honor and a privilege to be a 3-time member of this club.
I wish we had like a velvet jacket or something to give you, Joe.
Good
I would
idea.
receive that.
A crown, a scepter, something. Very theatrical.
Maybe on his 5th time.
Yeah, I think so.
Jacket.
All right. And not just a three-peat guest, a 3-time and 4-time winner of the Broadway World Columbus Awards. Congrats.
Thank you very much.
Yes, that's
Thank
right,
you.
Bruce. This is kind of breaking news, and I cannot believe our luck. We had Joe scheduled to record this podcast today, and would you believe it? The Broadway World Awards were announced this morning.
Oh.
And you guessed it, the Abbey Theater and Joe himself are big winners once again. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It was really, I have to tell you, it's so, it's humbling, but it's also just really, it's a testament to how the space is operating, serving the needs of Dublin residents, as well as also the artistic needs of artists here in this community. And so to receive that type of recognition, it's an honor. Thank you.
Well, don't sell yourself short. You need leadership when it comes to those awards, too. So congratulations, because you're a humongous part of that.
Right.
So
Thank you.
Let's start with the 2 biggies. First off, favorite local theater. Now, this award has been given out the past 3 years, and our Abbey Theater of Dublin has been the recipient all 3 years. So, Joe, congratulations, and talk about that award in particular and what it means to you.
Well, it means a lot. It's something we have. In the past year, we've been able to expand our staffing, and so we now have a theater specialist who's working alongside me, and his name is Daniel Rodriguez-Hio. And Daniel and I were discussing this when the nominations first came out. We were actually the recipient of 43 nominations across all 16 categories this year.
Wow.
So that's amazing,
Amazing.
right? And so Daniel was like, well, hey, look, in your mind's eye, what would be the greatest thing? And I said, I want the 3-peat. I want us to be named favorite local theater, because I think that that's all encompassing, because it speaks to how not only what we are programming and producing, but how we're interacting and collaborating with the other arts organizations that we call resident arts groups. It's also speaking to how we are trying to elevate even, the people that are trying to host events in our space.
Right.
And I think that that's how the Abbey is different than some of the other organizations that were up for that nomination. We are more than just a theatrical production entity. We are truly trying to make sure that anything that in our space is being put in the best possible position to succeed.
Yeah, well, congratulations on that 3-peat. And the other biggie, Best Director, and that has gone to you, Joe Bashara, 4 years in a row. So talk about that one.
Well, this one was extra special. Last time I was joining you on Linked Ahead, we were talking about American Idiot, right? And American Idiot has been a passion project for me. It was something that when I even first came here, when I walked into the Abbey, when I was having my second interview, I'm like, this is where American Idiot is supposed to be. It's the perfect fit. And we had to wait to roll that out. We wanted to, if you build it, they will come. And we did some things that I think were more familiar with the community with our pre-professional programs first. Makes complete sense. Crawl before you walk, before you run.
Sure.
Well, American Idiot was quite the undertaking. It was the first time we were introducing a live band to be accompanying our pre-professional artists. We also brought in a graphic designer to create graphics specifically for that production. So it was a huge undertaking. And so for that piece to be recognized, it's incredibly gratifying. And again, also just like, it's very humbling. And it's also something that I would never have even considered doing in some of my prior stops along my career. It was because it was the perfect fit. It was the right space. And we had the right technology to make that piece come to life. So
Well, it was so good. I mean, it honestly was just so well done. And that cast of characters that you have, I've seen several of them year after year, in Rent and Grease and then in American Idiot. And they're just really talented. And the show is fantastic.
And Joe Bashara will join us soon again in 2026 to give the scoop on the slate for the next set of performances at the Abbey Theater.
Oh, I can't wait. I haven't even heard any of the new shows that are coming out this year. So I'm always looking forward to that episode. All right, we are down to the medal rounds here and our top 3 podcasts of 2025. Can we say we're giving the bronze medal to Mother Earth? I think we can.
We're dedicating this episode to, the Earth for this month's official Earth Day recognition, which is Tuesday, April 22nd.
And our guest is all about sustainability and efforts to recycle, reuse, and reduce. Amanda Pratt, Senior VP of Communications at Rumpke. Welcome to Link Ahead.
Well, thanks for having me. Happy Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day. And Rumpke has nearly a century of service, which is amazing. Today, you have 4,000 associates and serve customers in 5 states, headquartered here in Ohio. In fact, you recently opened a new material recovery facility, affectionately known as a MRF, here in Columbus. And we had Andrew Booker from Swaco on Link Ahead in the fall, and he said it's the biggest MRF in North America. Is that right? Tell us more about this facility.
It is. It's the Rumpke Recycling and Resource Center, and we opened it last August. We officially opened it, and it is the largest recycling center in North America. It's also the most technologically advanced recycling center in all of North America. So it has the very best recycling technology available anywhere inside the plant, and we're using it right here in Central Ohio.
Which is great news because that means we get to recycle more, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we know when the new MRF opened, Rumpke expanded the recycling items with a list of plastic clamshell containers, which was super exciting because that was the one thing we were always like, do I get rid of this? Do I don't? So tell us more about the new facility's capabilities.
So the new facility is the reason you can now recycle your clamshell containers. And those are those plastic containers that everyone has wanted to recycle for so long.
I recycled one this morning. The raspberries were done. Put them in the recycling.
That's what I'm talking about. As soon as you finish your berries or salad or what have you, you could go right to the recycling bin with it. And the reason that it works is because at our new recycling center, it's about 262,000 square feet, and we're able to process the recycling that you put in your recycling cart at a rate of 60 to 70 tons per hour. So what happens is though that material is collected at the curb, we're bringing our trucks full of recycling to our tipping floor, which is 30,000 square feet. That is also the largest tipping floor in the United States, and we're unloading the materials onto the floor, loading them onto a conveyor system, and then the sorting process begins. And that sorting process happens very rapidly, but it also has a lot of redundancy to it. So the first thing that happens is the material goes onto the conveyor. It goes through a series of trommels, and those trommels act as a pre-sorting mechanism. They sort the materials according to their size. So we sort according to 3 different sizes. And then the material travels along and it meets up with Rumpke employees who are stationed near the conveyor system, and they stand there and they remove things like clothes baskets, maybe large rigid plastics like buckets, or maybe they're removing things that shouldn't have come to us in the first place. We see things like blankets and sheets and clothing. A really big hazard for us are batteries. So electronic batteries from cell phones and computers or power tools, even those e-cigarettes have those batteries. Even greeting cards that play music have those batteries. So those can't go to recycling. They actually they pose a big fire risk to our plant and to the people working around them. So those people stand there, they remove the things that shouldn't come to the recycling center in the first place. The material travels along, and we sort the fiber materials, the cardboard, from the container materials. So we do that using a system of trommels and ballistic sorters. So the ballistic sorters are like an elliptical, and we move the fiber material into one conveyor system and the containers onto another conveyor system. And then we use about 19 infrared optical scanners that have AI in front of them to sort your materials into the separate commodities. And we wrap up using steel magnets to separate steel and aluminum and an eddy current. And then we have neatly sorted commodities that we ship to manufacturers. Most of those manufacturers are right here in the state of Ohio.
You know, it is partnerships with organizations like Rumpke and Swaco that really make Dublin a state and national leader in sustainability.
Absolutely. Now, the Metal Round continues with the silver in our number 2 podcast episode. The next 3 words will give you the clue and the cue, the song in your head. Hold on loosely. We're ready to rock the night away with the man, and we're ready to make that happen with our guest today. So please welcome co-founder, lead singer, and guitarist for 38 Special, Don Barnes. Welcome to Link Ahead.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. How's everybody doing there in Dublin?
We're doing
We are
great.
getting excited. We're ready.
We are ready. So we talked to Kansas frontman Ronnie Platt a couple weeks ago. First, how did this tour, how did this come to be?
It was from last year. Our agent, William Morris Agency, they said, well, we're going to have to do something special for the 50th anniversary. And so they put some package tours together. So we ended up, I think it started out like 15 cities, and then it kept adding more and more, and tickets were selling. We're like, well, now it's up to 30 cities. So, we still do 100 cities a year, but that particular portion of it is Kansas, 30 cities. But they're all a bunch of great guys, and they really come in, they throw down, they play all the great songs and everything. But great guys to hang out with. And,
if I was going to tour the country, I think Ronnie Platt would be one of my top people to do that with. He was a lot of fun.
Super upbeat.
Ronnie is a great guy.
I listened to it again, and I just was laughing. He's so funny. He's always cracking jokes and stuff like that. So
he's a Chicago guy.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah.
So
not far.
You said you play more than 100 cities a year, and we found several great quotes from you, and here's one. You say, we never wanted to be a band that had maybe gotten a little soft. We're a team, and it's an unspoken rule that we don't slack up, we stack up. What a quote. So how do you keep stacking up year after year?
Well, we've always looked at it as a team, and a team of musicians can be like factions of each other, but we went out there as a team every night, and it's kind of an old coach term. All right, guys, this is a win. You got to be winners here tonight. We don't slack up. We stack up. We go out there and win 100%. So we've always kind of carried that unspoken rule that we walk out on stage and we have, luckily, fortunately, we have a catalog of hit songs that we just bang them up against each other and take them for a ride. We take them through all the history of the band, everybody through the MTV years, and just everything. So my sound guy John, he says sometimes I got to turn it up louder because the crowd is singing louder than you are. So
not a bad gig, huh?
It's a joyous occasion. It's a real celebration of that brotherhood that we've had all these years. So people can feed off of that too. They see that we all still like each other, which is pretty rare after all these years.
Right.
All right, let's talk about that ride that you've been on with 38 Special. So together for 50 years, sales exceeding 20 million units. And since 1976, the band has released more than 15 albums. So Don, what is the secret to 38 Special all these years?
We were all young boys with a dream, just like anybody else. We had day jobs way back there in the 70s. And, Donnie Van Zandt, who is still my partner, he and I own the trademark. And we played I've known him since he was 13.
Wow.
So we played little teen club bands and dance bands through the teen years. We came from Jacksonville, Florida. So and Jacksonville's a Navy town. So there's four naval bases there in Jacksonville. So everybody who came from that area, people think was it in the water or something, but Dwayne Allman, Greg Allman, Ronnie Van Zant, all the Skinner guys, Molly Hatch, everybody at 15 years old played sailors clubs. They played all the cover songs of the day at a young age. And it afforded us an opportunity to learn the foundations of songwriting. We had to, go to the practice in the garage or somebody's living room or whatever, and learn the new songs of the day, Young Rascals and Three Dog Night and all those old guys. And playing for sailors, we were underage, we cover songs, and they're out there, 22, 23, they're drinking and fighting and everything, but kind of like the Liverpool of the South. Liverpool was a port town as well. And that's where all the Beatles and all the groups came from, because they had that absorption, I guess, of all the cross-section of styles of music and everything. I guess we all owe our careers to the Navy.
Well, that's incredible. And you are the remaining original member of 38 Special. And making music has changed a lot over the last half century. What's been good about the changes, and what's maybe challenging about them?
There's been some good ones. I mean, the fact that social media, you're able to reach out to more people and branch out, and just from a click of a button, you get it all around the world. The MTV days was a real plus. We were the 13th video on the first day of MTV.
Wow.
Hold on loosely.
And you have to give it to 38 Special. Again, if you would have told me we would talk to two rock stars, there's been no way. So they've been rocking and rolling for 50 years and still going strong. They crushed it at Coffin City and back in July.
Right, and they both made the top 10. So I think we have a theme here. We're going to have Allison make sure that we get this year's 4th of July entertainers on the show again.
Absolutely.
All right, we are here. The most popular episode of 2025. I'm not going to ask you any guesses, but these folks joined us from different countries to do an episode to preview our most popular event, one of the biggest events that we host every year. You know it as the world's largest 3-day Irish festival. And the gold medal episode for our most popular episode this year goes to the Step Crew.
We're just pumped to have 3 members of Step Crew joining us. They are longtime veterans of the Dublin Irish Festival and be performing every day this year. So please welcome to Link Ahead, John Polatsky and Kara Butler joining us from Toronto, and Nathan Polatsky joining us from Ireland. Welcome, all of you.
Hi there.
How's it going?
We're doing great. There are a lot of tents outside of our building ready to welcome you, and we're so excited to have you all here.
Well, we're excited to be back. That is for sure. We've been looking forward to this for a long time.
Well, great. Well, we will talk all about you guys here in a moment. But first, let's talk about us for a little bit. The Dublin Irish Festival won Best Cultural Festival in the USA Today Reader's Choice Awards and claimed the #1 spot for the Best Suburban Festival in City Scene's Best of the Bus Awards. 100,000 people or so come to this festival every year. So let's hear from you all. Why do you love coming and performing here year after year? Kara, why don't you start us off?
Well, it's quite simple. You just said it. You were voted the best. Best. And, I have to say, Dublin was the first festival to hire us as the Step Crew way back in 2007. We had just put our little big show together, and we really, it was like we were just taking our first steps out there as a group. All 3 of us had performed with various bands and obviously with the Chieftains for a really long time. And we decided to put together this show, which put dancing at the front and center, as opposed to being, dancing with a band per se. And Dublin hired us in 2007. We've been back 5 times. This is going to be our 6th time. So not only do we have fans there, we're big fans. So it's really exciting.
All right, John, I know you said Kara speaks for you, but if you have anything else to add, why do you love coming here to Dublin, Ohio?
I mean, some of the best Irish musicians in the world all congregate that one weekend. There is, sessions, tunes to be had all around the festival, even in the hotel. It's a big, reunion of tons of friends, whether they be spectators or performers in the festival themselves. A chance to see all our I won't say old friends, but all our friends.
Long time friends.
Tenured.
Yes, and we're all, we all tend to be on tour all the time, so we don't get to meet up all the time. So it's such a wonderful weekend, and just the vibe of the festival itself. It's very organic, yet very professional. Somehow they managed to bring both of those things together. Just the grass, the nature of it versus like a concrete, grounds or something like that is just so lovely. And, the committee, they make it so very, very easy to be a performer there.
Wow, I'm glad we're recording this. That was a great answer, professional and organic. That was a great ad for us. All right, and all the way from Ireland, Nathan, how about you?
Well, I was just going to add just the organization of it all. It's all very well taken care of. The artists are taken care of. The crowd is taken care of. It's very well done, very professional, and everything goes very smoothly. So looking forward to doing it again.
All right, what a year, what a year. And I have to say, I had a chance to go watch the Step Crew after we interviewed them, and they did not disappoint. Thoroughly entertaining, and I just loved having the backstory of how they came to be in my mind while I'm watching them up there dancing and singing and playing instruments on the stage. What a fun time. You mentioned this at the top of the show. We had a really great year. We had more downloads in 2025. In fact, thousands more downloads in 2025, and 2024 wasn't too shabby either.
Right.
So what a great year, and we can't thank you enough for listening. You're the reason we do the show. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know who you want to hear from, what topics you want us to discuss in 2026. Looking forward to another great year, Bruce.
Absolutely, Lindsay. And thank you for taking the time to connect with your city. Tune in next time as we continue to explore the many personalities and experiences that make Dublin a thriving place to live, work, and grow.